Welcome to the AggroCast, episode 75. I'm Brian, and with me, of course, is our AggroCast, or AggroGamer E3 crew as we do our E3 wrap-up. We got David and Ben. What's up, guys?
Hey, how's it going? That's right, I jumped right in there.
That's right, you did. I'm totally cool with that. What's going on, guys?
Not too much, just relaxing after a busy week.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the wrap-up show. We're basically going to talk about what we saw on Thursday, and then wrap-ups, kind of give our final thoughts, and put a close on E3 2010.
Yeah, definitely. So what was the first thing that you guys saw on Thursday? I mean, we had our appointment with Sony Online Entertainment, but that was not until later on.
Yeah, that was about pretty much we all got there and kind of just meandered around. I know I got to see Mortal Kombat, the new one.
Yeah, how's that look?
It looks like a perfect revitalization to the franchise. One of the big things they were stressing during the entire presentation was that they're trying to go back to their roots and actually go a little bit further where they weren't able to back when they first started the franchise, like with the violence and the blood and gore and all that.
Sure. You mean the blood's not going to be green?
No.
Okay.
No, it is definitely not green, unless you're a beaten up reptile, and then I think it's a little green, but it makes perfect sense though why his is green and why the cyborgs bleed oil and stuff.
Right.
But definitely when you rip off Johnny Cage's head, red blood sprays everywhere. And like some of the other new things they had in that. Granted, they did pretty much what every other fighting game has been doing recently, where you have a tag team now, much like Mortal Kombat, or not more. I mean, Marvel versus Capcom.
Okay. Sure.
You now have a tag team mode. It's not the sole mode of the game, but it's kind of like how you have arcade versus now there's tag team.
Yeah.
So you could pick two fighters, and it works exactly how it works in Marvel vs. Capcom, where you can have them come in and do one quick attack, or you can have them just jump in.
Yeah.
It's just a new gameplay feature I had never seen in Mortal Kombat before.
Sure.
But one of the really cool features that I don't think I've seen anywhere is what they call X-ray mode. The build up for it is similar to like doing ultra combos and all that stuff in Street Fighter, where you got a meter that's got to fill up, and then you can use up you can deplete it all. Except for it throws everything into slow mo, and if you've seen the trailer for it, every strike you do in this mode gives you an X-ray view of exactly what kind of internal damage you're doing. And some of them are really cool. You got to see them shatter backs, see what skull types are like, but when you watch Johnny Cage do his, you watch somebody's genitalia just get eviscerated as he does like 4 punches to it, and you're like, yeah, they're not procreating ever again if they survive.
That's fantastic.
Another cool thing they did for all of them is they gave every character a severe personality. Like before, everybody kind of had their standard movements and all that stuff, and just kind of that canned thing for everybody. Now everybody has like personality movements.
Well, that's cool.
Like Johnny Cage is cocky, so everything he does in the game shows that cockiness. Mina is like some hardcore bitch, so everything she does kind of has that bitch attitude towards it all. Yeah, so it's just kind of cool little extra things to get you back into the game.
Nice. Now, is it like where Marvel vs. Capcom, they kind of have like the 3D characters on a 2D plane?
Oh, that's exactly what they did. Because it was Mortal Kombat 4 or something like that, they decided to go completely 3D.
Yeah.
They did that a little bit with Mortal Kombat versus DC. Well, yeah, pretty much it's just 3D characters, only able to fight 2D.
Okay.
And there's a few scenes, whatever, but it's mainly, cut scenes, kind of like when you're doing a fatality or when you're doing some huge move that the other person can't block.
Right.
That's when it kind of gives you the full aspect of 3D. And another kind of cool thing is in the past, yeah, you had kind of interactive backgrounds for the game. One of the big staple ones with the Death Pit, how there was always that that bridge that's in the background. You see two people kind of just standing there like pretending to fight.
Huh.
In this one, you actually have a full-on fight that is random every time they play it. So it's almost like there's an actual fight, another fight. So it's kind of a cool little thing to add in there. Like the backdrops for every scenario are very interactive.
Very nice. Very
Cool.
nice.
Can't wait to play it.
Yeah, I can't wait to get some hands on.
Jeez. And
And for those out there listening, there's 26 characters. At least this is from their menu they had, plus DLC options, which is going to be obvious. And the confirmed ones they had there were Sub-Zero, Scorpion, Reptile, Johnny Cage, Mina, Kung Lao, Sector, and trying to think. I think that was all. Oh, Nightwolf.
Oh, cool.
So those 8 are confirmed in the game.
All right.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can't wait. Definitely can't wait.
I just wish I didn't have to wait an hour in line to go in and see it.
Yeah, but it was worth the hour, though.
It definitely was worth the hour.
Jeez.
So, I spent my morning before the appointment went to the Nexon booth and check out their new title called Vindicious. And it's another free MMO that Nexon is going to be releasing. But this title definitely looked like it could have cost a good $40 to purchase and to play.
They're just giving it away for free?
Yeah, it's gonna be free to play. And
What?
Yeah,
Oh.
you just download and you play.
Okay, so free to play, I could easily see that kind of like how Lord of the Rings Online is. You still got to buy the discs, but it's free to play online. But this is actually, you could go online, download it, and
Just like Dungeon Fighter, you just
wow.
go online, download the game and play it online. That's it. And it just graphically, I mean, it's pretty good for a free game.
Mm-hmm.
And the combat system, they could have used a lot more combos in it, but it was pretty simple. That you have your standard attack and you have your strong attack. Now, the one cool feature that I like on here, I'm not sure they have this in Lord of the Rings or not, but this is the first time I've seen it in any MMO on a PC, is they have a throw feature in there, where you can grab the guy and then you can perform a throw. Depending on where you are, you can throw the guy slam him against the wall, or you pretty much do like a backbreaker onto the guy, or do some sort of other variation of a throw move. And when I was playing it, I'm like, I find myself doing the grab and throw more often than I do the standard attack, because it was pretty much OP for me to do that, and it was almost like a one-shot kill when I was doing that. And the controls are pretty basics and whatnot. The one thing that was really limited was the choice of range attack that you can have, because you have a spear pretty much, or a javelin, and you can just launch it to any target and just kill that person like right there. Or if you're fighting a boss, you can like stun him for a little bit, depending on the amount of javelin that you're throwing at him. My main concern about it, and I asked one of the helpers there, was when you're attacking a monster. Let's say there's a monster right behind you, and you want to move your character to face that monster. It didn't matter where you're facing. It would only attack where your camera angle was looking at. So in other words, Brian, like in Lord of the Rings, you want to turn around and you have the character looking at you, right?
Right.
Well, you can't, and you want to attack back there. Well, in Vindicious, you can't do that, because if you hit attack, your character turns around and faces where the camera is looking at. So I was like, "Are you guys gonna fix this?" And he goes, "Oh no, you'll get used to it."
That means they don't know how to fix it.
Yeah.
And it's a gameplay feature.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Undocumented feature.
Yeah, and there was not really an action bar that they had, and that was really lacking as well. So I was like, okay, this is not cool, I guess, because any other MMO you would have like some sort of action bar that you would have, to drag whatever spells or action you want on that bar. No, not in this game. I was a little.
So pretty much, you have to get used to not having an action bar as well.
Pretty much, yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, depending on how it's set up, that could be pretty decent. Like if you only have set skills and all that stuff, and you have, your 1 to 10 skills or whatever, and they're just automatically linked to those keys. I mean, now that's a little less management you have to do, but that's also not that much character development if you only have 10 powers.
No, it was. I think the only button, the attack button, was the right and left click button on your mouse.
Oh,
wow. Other than that, I think what was it? I think it was Q. Yeah, Q to grab, and then like you have to use your right click to throw the person, and then like E to pick up something, and then other than that was about the extent of it. I'm hoping that they're still developing like more combos or whatnot before they release the game. Other than that, if it's everything that I've seen, it's not going to last long. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, I know there's going to be a lot of people that will play it because it's free, and it's free to play, but not for me. So.
Well, I guess we'll have to keep an eye on it.
Did they say whether or not this was the beta build or what build?
I think it was like almost beta build, but not quite.
Okay, so it's pre-beta.
Pre-beta, yeah. I mean, it was almost there, because I know they're gonna be releasing a beta for it sometime real soon.
Okay.
But it was not quite there yet, and I'm like, okay, a whole lot better than a lot of the other games I saw. But other than that,
Lucha Libre.
Amen to that. It's not on live too.
Oh, that's right. I haven't even tried that.
We'll talk about it later, because it's one of those things where I found really, really weird that they had a booth, but no one was talking about it.
Huh.
So
it was being released that week. I mean, it's not really like
it was released. Yeah, it was released on Tuesday, wasn't it?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a funny thing though, because they had a huge area in the South Hall, huge area, like right next to the Disney area and whatnot, but barely anyone was there. Every single time I passed by it.
Like people working the booth, or just people?
There was a lot of people working the booth. I'm talking about people actually stopping by.
Gotcha. Okay.
But
they can play it at home. Why would they need to play it?
Yeah, I mean, it was well, because people don't, maybe people didn't know. Maybe people wanted to try it out before they actually wanted to go and get it. I've seen workers passing out their flyers, and I've seen the guys that had the flyers just throw it right away. I was like, wow, all right.
That's rough.
Yeah, that was really rough. So what did you see before you went to Sony, Brian?
Actually, I didn't. Well, first, as soon as the doors opened, everyone just bolted right to the Nintendo booth in the West Hall. Literally in a matter of minutes, the 3DS and Zelda lines were probably over an hour each.
Jeez.
I mean, like that was. I mean, I'm talking about the first like 5 minutes. I actually had people running past me to get there. It was kind of crazy, a little sad too, but kind of crazy. So I headed over and waited like 3 or 4 minutes to get into the PlayStation Move line, and sat down with iPet, with Move and 3D. So throw the glasses on. You know, they have the active 3D glasses with their little Sony Bravia TV, and it is a great tech demo. I mean, it is fantastic in like, you know, spraying water on them and like playing with them, but I honestly, this isn't my kind of game, so I don't know, maybe, you know, if you're a kid, this is something cool for you, but I did not find it very fun at all. In fact, I kind of got bored, and I think the person who was doing the demo with me was like kind of noticing it, and she was like, well, let's try this, and I'm just kind of like, okay. So we drew a plane, which was really hard to draw, and then I flew him around for a few seconds, and I'm like, yeah, I gotta go. So, well, I mean, it was like one of those things where I'm like, okay, this is really cool, except for the fact that I'm never gonna do this, I'm never gonna buy this thing myself, and, you know, and that's fine. I mean, I'm sure there are gonna be kids that are gonna think it's great, but, like, I had to, like, wash him and, like, feed him and play with him, and I'm like, yeah, it's just a lot of work.
You know, it sounds more like it's going to be the new Tamagotchi.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. It's a 3D Tamagotchi.
Which means it's going to sell millions.
Probably. Oh, I have no doubt that it's going to sell shit tons, but I mean, I won't be one of those people buying it. I didn't think it was that. I mean, it was responsive, but like, I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't thinking about it properly or something. It just didn't do anything for me. So as soon as I was done there, I went into the SOCOM 3 line, or 4, SOCOM 4, and played with the Move, and that is pretty slick.
Is it?
Yeah, if you're a big fan of the SOCOM series, you're gonna love this game because it's basically, you have your 2 squads that you keep with you, and you just point where you want them to go. And you just press the button, and then poof, that team starts running. And then calling in an airstrike was just fun. Basically just radaring the part like right in front of the tank, so when the tank rolls that spot and the helicopter comes in and just annihilates, it's great.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a very satisfying feeling. So that was pretty fun. I'm just not very good at the cover mechanics, so I got shot a lot.
It happens.
Yeah, whatever. And then I went and did, they're patching Heavy Rain for Move functionality. And the first thing they addressed was no more holding R2 so that you can walk. You just push up on the stick, and because all the looking and context sensitive movements are done with the Move. So, like, if you kind of shake your wrist back and forth, your head starts swiveling back and forth, you kind of look weird, but, yeah.
Jason!
I didn't get to play that. But, instead of it being, like you move the controller up and down or side to side, it's, like either you thrust forward or if you have it like a flashlight, forward, back, rotate, that sort of thing for like turning doorknobs and such. And then it being straight up, you move like down or forward or, back. So they kind of changed some of the button presses and stuff. The only problem with the Move is you're just not used to there's a Move button and then the button, okay, so pretend it's a Wiimote. The A button is the Move button and the B button is the T button. I don't know where T comes from, but whatever.
T?
Yeah, it's the T button.
Like teabagging?
I'm thinking it's like trigger, like T for trigger. Like T, the letter T. So that was actually kind of fun. I would be interested when getting a Move, I would be interested in playing Heavy Rain all over again just to see how it worked. Because I fared a little better in that fight in the beginning when you first meet Madison. I fared really well in that fight, just based on being able to do these short arm movements with the Move.
Actually able to push people away and all that.
Yeah.
So would you say that when you tried out the Move, was it like 1-to-1?
Oh yeah. No, that's easily 1-to-1. That was, in fact, it felt better than a Wiimote. So it felt really slick. And I mean the price point, you just can't beat it. So
no.
I think that you're going to see the Move do pretty well when it gets released in September. So what about Sony Online, guys?
Well, we went over there to check out a few things. One of them was the Agency, their upcoming first-person shooter MMO type game where you play a secret agent and all that stuff. I've been excited since they first announced it, and then saw the tech demo last year. And actually, Ben got to sit down and play. They were showing last year. They showed the PvE section. This year they showed the PvP section.
Huh.
So, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. The controls were simple. Pretty much your standard first person shooter type controls and all that stuff. The one cool thing I like about it was the different powers that you have depending on the class that you were on. I forgot what class I was playing.
You were playing the Scout.
Okay, I was playing the Scout, where it was pretty much one of the cool things about the Scout, and I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of Scouts running around in the game, was that one of the features was that you can have X-ray, almost like X-ray vision type, where you can see your enemies through walls.
Oh, that's
and
sweet.
So you know where they were at all times. So at one point,
not just yourself, but also your allies on your team.
Exactly. So it was funny because it was like later on, right before, the guy wanted me to wrap it up and whatnot. So I used the power. There was two guys that saw me one way, wanted to go the other way. So they went the other way, the way that I was going to go to, but I went back and I shot them from behind because I saw where they were going. So it was like, wow, this is going to be very interesting. But the weapons on there was the standard, like your machine gun, your pistol, and the sniper rifle that I was using. It was like pretty much the first shot that I had was a headshot with the sniper rifle. The guy, well, it was funny.
You got to bring up one important thing on headshots in this game.
Oh yeah.
No matter what level you are, one headshot equals one kill. You know, one hit, one kill on a headshot.
Wow.
You can have all the HP you want for being a level 40 or whatever, but if you get shot in the head, you're down.
Yeah, which is, I think, it's really, really cool because it doesn't, it balances everything out. So, like, let's say a low level is going up against a higher level. Well, if the higher level gets shot in the head, he's dead, regardless.
Yeah. It's like they reward players' skill over people just sitting there grinding out levels just to be better.
It's not Modern Warfare, folks. So, I really enjoyed it. I really didn't want to get off. I want to sit here and play for this.
Well, we were there for what, 20 minutes or so on just the agency.
Yeah,
wow.
20 minutes alone.
I think it's that long.
What's that?
They let you stay that long.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised on that myself, but there was nobody showing up, so he just kept letting it go until a couple of executives showed up and wanted to have a demo.
So, I mean, after playing that, I really wanted to get the game and really play it out for the PC, really, because it was weird. Well, not really weird, but they had the PlayStation controller and a keyboard and mouse, and it goes, "Oh yeah, you can pick up the the PlayStation controller if you want." I'm like, "No, I'm good with this." So afterwards, we actually, before the agency, we were waiting for someone to show us DC Online.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that.
You don't? Okay.
No, that was one of the big things that I found happening a lot during this E3 was that unless you were a tier 2 or a tier 1, as our inside joke goes, you pretty much got sat on the sidelines unless somebody was actually feeling nice. And when we got there for the second time we tried to see DC Universe Online, because we tried on Tuesday, and we tried again on Thursday, and we just kind of stood there and waited and picked up a controller, and nobody was really telling us anything. So, yeah. We'll just move on to Magic the Gathering.
Oh, really? Because when we were at that cocktail hour thing, and I was playing DC Universe, I wasn't really feeling that. So.
Okay, here's my short impression, because I played a little bit as well. They could do a much better job if it was not an online game, and if it was like a standard, just regular standard game. Mm-hmm. I think it would have done a whole lot better. But as an online game, no, I don't think so. Because it's hard. I mean, what you're gonna do? You're gonna plug in your keyboard and communicate with other people, or use the headset most of the time. I mean, it just the PvP aspect of it felt a little wonky, where it was like I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do? Who am I supposed to kill?
Well, much like the agency this year, all they were showing was PvP. Last year they were showing PvE, where you actually get to team up with whatever superhero or supervillains in the area, and actually pull off tasks, kind of much like Champions Online or City of Heroes. Mm-hmm. So I mean, honestly, in the PvE section, it feels a lot like you're playing Champions Online or City of Villains or City of Heroes, specifically where they took out the ban on having named characters. So I mean, the PvE section, I enjoyed it. PvP, I was lost the entire time. I couldn't track anybody down, or it made no sense.
Yeah, after messing around with the buttons a little bit, I finally understand the powers that I had, which was the character that I had was like almost like a Flash character, where I could pretty much run up and down a wall when at will, didn't matter what.
Well, that's a high level power though.
Yeah,
I think the characters they were giving us to play with were like 30th level.
But
which was the same in Agency, mind you. So not everybody's going to have the ability to look through walls from the start.
no. So don't worry about that.
But I was like, for my play instance, I was doing PvE, and there was this level, and I was trying to free Robin from, and Harley Quinn had captured Robin.
Mm-hmm.
So I kept trying to, like, in my battle with her, I kept trying to free Robin, and I'm like, I don't understand why I can't free Robin. And he's just like, well, why would you? And I'm like, well, he's a superhero. He could help me.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah. I don't really know why they don't let you do that. I'm like, that would be like the first thing you would do. You would, stun her, and then you'd run in and you'd free Robin to help you. Like, that seems so obvious to me.
But
I mean, like,
that makes sense.
he wouldn't be able to kill her. Like, you would still have to do a brunt of the work. But he could help the cops, like, knock out the henchmen or something. I don't know.
But that makes too much sense.
Yeah, I'm just like, why would I leave Robin here by himself?
See, here's the thing: is it makes sense in a comic book aspect, but in an MMO aspect,
Yeah.
not really. Because I mean, you don't see that in any rescue missions in World of Warcraft or anything like that. You have to beat the villain, then you can rescue him. But completely in like the comic book in the general sense, hell yeah, I'd want to free a superhero to help me out.
Exactly.
Well, and then of course, as I'm like, you had to fight like a bigger, like a mini boss henchman, and then another one, and then you got to Harley Quinn. Well, the first one punched me all the way into, and I triggered Harley Quinn. So I had both mini bosses and her beating the crap out of me.
Jeez.
And he's like, yeah, that really shouldn't have happened. I'm like, awesome.
You shouldn't have let the henchman hit you, man.
Yeah, I guess.
That's your fault.
I'm sorry, you didn't really want to talk about it, so we can move on. You guys.
It was just a horrible experience with Sony Online and all that stuff with showing up there.
Yeah.
I mean, we pretty much had to walk ourselves through all that stuff. Even though people who go nameless could walk right in, bump us from line, and go to town. But
yeah.
Anyways, Magic.
Now, what's the official name? It's like Magic the Gathering, blah 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 blah.
Something like that. Yeah. I'll go with just Magic the Gathering.
It's like Magic the Gathering Tactics or something like that.
It's pretty much. It's pretty much like the card game, just without actual cards in front of you, but you have a much smaller board to work with, and like each, depending on the summon that you have, they have like miniature squares and whatnot, where you can play some like a smaller creature would take up like 4 squares, or like a higher creature would take up to like 8 squares, and depending on it was almost playing like that, but I couldn't get into or couldn't understand like the battle system as much. And the guy that asked me for help and whatnot, I mean, I'm just trying to get used to the game and whatnot, and he walked away before I even got to ask him a question.
Nice.
So,
well, that was your fault for telling him, I'm fine, I'm getting used to the game.
well, because I'm wondering like, how am I supposed to summon? And there's like a small HUD like on a lower right hand side that you can summon that way. Oh.
Well, if you'd have been, you can't blame the game because you were kind of just dropped in the middle of it.
Yeah, I was dropped in the middle and like going, wait, what? How am I supposed to do what? But yeah, it was. I like it for what I played.
Mm-hmm.
And I really I actually want to get the game and play it full hand, and get used to it and all that. And despite the confusion that I had at the beginning. I was getting used to it, and learning who to attack, when to summon, what to summon, and all that good stuff. So,
well, as a spectator, it kind of looked like it was more kind of like how Final Fantasy Tactics was set up, or anything like that.
Pretty much, yeah.
Just using the Magic the Gathering universe, and characters.
Because the characters actually do appear on screen, and you use like depending on the character, you can use the spells. Like an AOE in one area to damage your enemies and all that stuff. So it it was cool. I like it. I want to definitely get more hands-on with it. So
Very
we'll
nice.
see that in the future.
Yeah, that was pretty much our experience at the Sony whatever it is.
Sony Online.
Yeah.
So right after that, or very short, we had some lunch, but shortly after that, we took a walk over to Bethesda, and they lost their reservation.
Yeah.
Classic.
Even though I had the email in hand and everything on my phone and all that, we weren't listed. Although, that happened later on with Square Enix as well, and we were just listed under a different outlet name.
I wonder if that
the
was the same thing.
That might have been the same thing, because he was looking us up by AggroGamer. So, but in any instance, we did get in.
So, I mean, we did get in, and one of the cool things that Bethesda was giving out to all the media was like the nice little spring jacket and whatnot, which was really slick.
Yeah, if you were a medium.
Yeah, if you were a medium, which is all they had left. I'm like, good God. But other than that, they were showing actual gameplay for Brink, which you actually got to play.
They did Brink, Fallout New Vegas, and Hunted.
The Hunted, yeah.
The Hunted, and they were showing something for Rage, but we couldn't get into it because they were just ridiculously booked on showings, and like they had a small theater for it. So when they said that only one media outlet person at a time, they meant it because it was really small. But from what I understand, it was really cool.
Yeah.
We never got a chance, but Brink, I got a good hands on with that, and wasn't too impressed with it when we first saw it last year. Wasn't too impressed with some of the new trailers they put out. Actually, hands on with it, I am impressed. It's a weird first person shooter that adds mission based items into it. You can change your character type throughout the entire match, and everything on it makes sense, and the stuff that doesn't make sense, they make up with it with kind of like a goofy type feel to it. So you realize, I'm just playing something for fun, not like for a serious hardcore, championship thing or anything like that. So it was weird, but it was fun as hell. I got to play as the soldier, the engineer, and the scout. I think one of the best things with the scout was you can go over there and strip another guy down, put all of their gear on, and pretty much you take over that character model. So the other team sees you as that.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. And like the mission, one of the missions I was on required me to do that, and then walk into their base and hack their system. So like walk by everybody. Nobody pays any attention to me. I walk up to their computer system, hack it, place a bomb, and then walk out.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
It was just the really cool sneak attack behind it all. Even though I probably could have gone in there as a soldier and tried to lay waste to everything, but it was just cool to have those options, I guess. And granted, it's not as high impact as the new trailer makes it seem, where you're jumping over everything and flipping and shooting, catching grenades and stuff. But it is definitely not what I was expecting to find.
Very nice.
And then from there, I think we moved on to Fallout New Vegas, which I think Ben spent an entirety of 3 minutes getting shot at by bots and people for no reason whatsoever.
So if you listen to day 2 and my Mafia experience, that was my experience with New Vegas. I pretty much walked up to a person and I was like, and I sucked him right in the face, and then afterwards, like, pretty much the entire town was chasing after me.
Why did that seem like a good idea?
I wanted to see what happened.
The same reason he ran over a little old lady.
Hey!
That's a good point.
50 points, alright? It was 50 points.
No, and then there was like later on or whatever, he walks into a casino after like everything's died down, and he's talking to somebody, and like I guess part of the mission, at least from what I could gather from the text, was he was supposed to go into this room and talk to somebody, and one of the guards is like, pretty much he knows you have weapons, so you get your options to hand over all your weapons, hand over all but your hidden weapons, or tell him to fuck off and go to town. And
please tell me you just told him you'd give him everything but your hidden weapons.
I thought that's what he was going to do too, but no, he said fuck off twice, so the entire town again turned and attacked him.
Pin.
And here's the funniest part behind it. The only weapon he had on him to fight back with
was my fist.
Was spiked knuckles.
Oh.
That was the only weapon, so like, why would they give him such a big problem in this town for having, spiked, pretty much they were spiked, brass knuckles. That's it.
Yeah, I'm like, where's my weapons? And I'm looking, I'm like, I have no weapon, so why was that such a big deal?
Yeah.
I didn't get that. So I was like, I paused it, and I'm like, I'm done. Because like, they kept on shooting me, but apparently they had God mode on.
Yeah, or you were just playing God at the time.
Yeah.
Not just because he got shot in the face like 30 times by one guy before he was able to punch him to death.
Yeah.
And then he moved on to the second guy, and like was halfway punching that guy to death, and was like, okay, yeah, no, this sucks. Let's move on.
So we went on from.
Wait, hold on. Wait, let me interject this with, it sucks because it's Bethesda. There, I had to get my mic in.
Well, I don't agree with that. I will agree that Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas is kind of disappointing.
Yeah,
anyway,
I thought I tweeted about that too. Like,
yeah.
Didn't I say Fallout did not look impressive at all?
Yeah.
When I was watching the Spike TV game trailer pre E3 crap they had. Anyways, we went from that to The Hunted.
Yeah.
And The Hunted is pretty much almost like a co-op adventure game.
It's like Gauntlet, but you only get 2 characters, but everything is done in a very high res, very action kind of oriented type way.
Dude, I love Gauntlet.
And you can swap characters between, like if you're playing co-op or just single player, you could swap between the characters at any time. So like if, like what happened during our playthrough, I was playing the huge warrior dude and he was playing the chick with the bow. We got to an area and the guy that was showing us was like, well, if you guys want to swap and try the other ones, go here and do this. So we did that. And just seamlessly, we hopped into pretty much each other's bodies there and continued the same mission.
And it was like the transition, like the fighting, you had to get almost like it didn't seem too difficult.
No, it didn't.
Like when I was fighting as the female archer, I was like, all right, pop this guy, bust up my melee, kill him real quick, bust up my weapons again, and it just seemed so seamless. Popping people, and all of a sudden I switched over to the warrior. Boom. Melee.
Yeah, you have your sword out, and then out of nowhere you pull out your bow, and then you put that aside, and you pull out your magic. It swapping between the three attack modes, just seamless. How you would expect it to be in a game like this.
Yeah. The 3 modes is pretty much your melee, your range, and your magic.
Yeah.
And you didn't really expect like a barbarian to have magic, but he did. But
what was explained in there is when it comes to the barbarian, all of his physical attacks are like if you go in there just all physical, you'll rip through everything. If you try anything else with him, you can do it. It's just not very effective. And it's the same thing with the chick who was an archer. When you're sitting there with the bow, you could pop people off left and right, be like the perfect first-person shooter type thing with it all. You swap over to your melee or your magic, and with her magic she's a little better, but with her melee she sucked.
Yeah,
which makes sense because she's supposed to be this great archer. Why would she be an awesome melee person unless she's Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, but the gameplay overall, I liked it.
I only wish we could hear what the story was going on.
Yeah, I did too.
Because the guy was trying to give us the overview of the story, and it sounded kind of cool and interesting. It very reminiscent of Gauntlet, like I mentioned before. So it's I just wish we could have gotten a little more on that.
Does she say Elf needs food badly?
No, but graphically, it was really out there. I mean, this was not made by Bethesda. This was made by someone else.
It's being published by Bethesda, and I can't remember the name of the company.
I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, I can't think of the top of my head as well, but I think it's a cool online co-op, whether you play single player or co-op.
Well, it's not even just online. You could sitting at home playing with a friend. I know, like I was trying to. Was it back when the PS3 came out that their version of Gauntlet? It's kind of like that, just severely updated and awesome.
Yeah, well, we're playing on two separate TVs as well.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
And to go back to your comment about the phrase, there is a phrase in there where the warrior calls the chick a stupid bitch that has to touch everything because she touches some idol and it blows up and summons a bunch of skeletons.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I mean, there are little things like that in there.
So yeah, that was Bethesda.
Wow.
I mean, I wish we could have saw Rage, especially after seeing some of this stuff online and whatnot. I'm like, dang, we missed our chance.
But it was ridiculously small area and time limited because we had to get off to Square-Enix real quick after that.
So I mean, it was like literally like I looked at see what time it was. What was like 1? 1 was the appointment for
Bethesda was at 1, and then we had Square Enix at 2.
Bethesda was at 1, and I wanted to see Rage. I looked at looked at what time it was. It was 1:02 when they closed the door. That room was that small for having the amount of people that probably just bum rushed that area.
Yeah.
Wow. So we missed our chance, but seeing what I saw online and everything, especially made by id Software, it looks like it's going to be one of those games that you are gonna have to buy day one.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's the way that they described it and everything, how the model, the landscape model and everything, it's not like you have you have to render mountain 1 and mountain 2 here and then repeat yourself. The way that they described it, everything was like pretty much hand drawn. So like there's no same rock formation that when you were cruising through and everything. It's a first-person shooter with a car combat system in it, and the premise of the story was like it was a post meteorite destroying the world type thing, where you're trying to survive in this world with mutants and everything. So I mean, I after seeing and looking in what it looked like graphically, I can't wait for this game to come out. I wish I could have seen more of it, but yeah, like David said, we had to rush over to Square-Enix to see Final Fantasy XIV,
which we'll get into in a moment or two. Did you get up to anything while we were doing that after they lost our appointment and all that stuff?
No, I just sort of walked around. Actually, I ran into Rich McGrath from BitMob. So we were just standing around chatting, and then I was just kind of killing time till my 2:00 appointment with Nintendo, which was pretty awesome. Went up and we got hands-on with the 3DS, which, I mean, Ben can attest, it's pretty phenomenal. There was definitely one I really liked. It was called like Target something. It was just a tech demo. So basically we had, like you focused on a object that was on the table, and you sort of had to rotate the 3DS around, and it focused in on that one target, and then it put in like imaginary 3D targets. So you were moving yourself and the 3DS around to fire at the targets at different angles. So imagine that in virtual space that the targets were stationary, you were just moving around them, including like peeking down holes, or they had like a dragon at the end. You had to kind of get behind its head to get it at its neck. So it was just really cool because basically, most of the time, the screen stands still and you move yourself in the virtual space. Well, now you're moving the screen around to get to the spot in the virtual space. So it's like a flip of the camera angle that really kind of like, at first it feels a little foreign, and then you start picking it up, and then you find yourself like trying to like peek around corners and stuff. And actually, funny enough, there was actually a webcomic, and I can't remember which one it was, and that they were making fun of the 3DS, that every guy was like kept turning it turning it up and trying to look at different angles, trying to look up Princess Peach's skirt. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Pretty much, it sounds like a game where you're doing exactly what people have done in the past with like the PSP or the 3D or just the DS in general, where you get so in tune with the game, you're trying to move and look around and all that stuff.
Right. So exactly, it's like people who are playing racing games and they're like turning the controller.
Yeah.
It's like that, only this actually works. But I mean, it was just a tech demo, but it sort of opens your mind to what possibilities could be out there for this. Like, it's going to be awesome, what they can do. They also had some, like, 3D, like, trailers for, like, Kid Icarus and Resident Evil. And I watched Metal Gear, and it was very interesting. And I think, Ben, in day one, I think you talked about this and how using the slider, because turning it all the way up for Resident Evil did not work. It was like everything was sort of like doubling up on itself, and you had to just scale it down a little bit so that the picture came into focus.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of cool to kind of think that the developers have a wide range of what they can do, and people can adjust the 3D part of it based on like their own eyes, like what their own eyes need. So it really is kind of cool. It's not a one size fits all. It really is something. It's almost like they thought ahead about how they can use this and have it really be for everybody. So that was pretty cool. After that, I got taken down and got to put my hands on The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, which I was really, really stoked about, and I was not disappointed. Wii Motion Plus involved. You could watch the sword move the sword on the screen, as you moved your arm around. Just like Miyamoto said, like placement, you have to bring that nunchuck up to, put a guard up for yourself, because, they kind of had a mini boss. They had a stealth floss with, dueling swords. So you had to see where his swords were and then cut, at the angle in which he wasn't protecting. And you could see like he actually had enough intelligence to he was trying to creep to my right side, to my sword hand, to get away from my shield. So it was kind of interesting to see that they put a little AI in there, enough to make it so it's not just, the old Dynasty Warriors, block, 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 fight, 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 so hold block as soon as they're done, then, click X 3 times. So
did you have any wireless issues while you were playing it?
No, there was no wireless issues, and I had my phone in my pocket, so you would have thought there would have been some kind of interference. There were a few people like filming stuff nearby, so maybe that would have, but no, I was perfectly able to play the game just fine. Definitely the secondary weapons are where you're really going to have the fun. I'll just sort of skip ahead to my favorite, which is the beetle. So you kind of have like this like remote control beetle like attached to your wrist, sort of like Boba Fett. He has like the the missile. So you fire it off, and then you get then you're playing the beetle, and you're using a kind of remote control. And you can go up and pick up things that are out of your reach. So I picked up like a red rupee that was up on some ledge, and then I picked up a bomb flower. And as I'm like coasting near some baddies, it all of a sudden, as you start getting near, it shows you the projection of where the bomb will go. So you just move the target near them, you press A, and it just goes, boom! Just dive bomb everything. It's fantastic. And it kind of gives you a taste of what kind of puzzles you might be seeing later on. So I'm really, really stoked about it. And just for the record, the slingshot works just fine. If you miss, it's your own fault.
I'm telling you, Miyamoto more first-person shooters for you.
So what about the bow and arrow? Because that was the one he was having the issues with.
Actually, the bow and arrow works fantastic. It sort of works like Wii Motion Plus. You know, you press and hold B, you pull the nunchuck back, and then you wait for it, and it actually takes a few seconds. Like if you're really looking to zoom in on something, and I mean literally, I was far away and I just headshot it. I was just popping things left and right with the headshot. It's very accurate. Very accurate.
Damn wireless issues.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Bombs, you can either put down, toss like overhand, or you can roll it like a ball. I even got to put spin on it, so it like started curving to the right, or I'm like, can you put spin on it? He's like, I don't know.
Nice.
I'm like, let's try. So sure enough, right at the end, I cracked my wrist, and then it just started going off to the right, like just like you would expect a bowling ball would.
Bowling with Zelda.
Yeah, it's great. Hey, it works though. That's the key thing, is it works.
I just think it's going to probably be a puzzle where you'll need to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be.
Thanks, Brian.
So that was really awesome, and out of curiosity, I just took a look on Amazon, and they're actually listing it as $60.
Legend of Zelda?
Yep. Wii game $60. That's gonna be crazy.
What?
Because they can, and people will pay for it. I'll pay for it.
Oh God, yeah. That sucks, but
wow.
Yep. So that was my trip to Nintendo. What about you guys? Final Fantasy XIV. Let's talk about it.
Where do we start with this?
You can start with you. I mean, I looked at the 3D part of it before I broke it.
So pretty much we all got taken back in there into like this little private booth where the general populace was not allowed to even see it outside of like peeking around a corner. So they really had kind of like the actual demo kind of quartered off. So I kind of felt it kind of cool and all that stuff. And they were showing off the beta they plan on bringing out here for the first time. They also mentioned the beta is supposed to be out sometime in the next month for PC and hopefully within the next 2 months for the PlayStation. But they pretty much took you through the two major parts of it. First, character creation, which you get the standard, choose your race, change your face colors and all that stuff, add all that on. I mean, it wasn't too robust. I mean, Final Fantasy XI wasn't too robust on the options you got. But you got to choose your race. You got to choose all of your other random stuff about you. The only issue I found with it was drop down instead of like click select or anything like that, and you had to mouse over the option and then click on it.
Huh.
So I mean, it led to me clicking on things I didn't want, and I had to go back and redo it a few times. But other than that, I mean, it's really straightforward character creation until you get to your class section, which they've totally revamped. There are 4 major classes: warrior, magic user, farmer, and crafter. Within those, there's a number of other little subclasses in there. Like none of them have there's no set number in each one. I think in the warrior section there was 6 options. In the magic there was 5. Crafter there was 2. I'm not sure if that's just because of the beta or if that's just the way they have it. But pretty much all you choose is your very first starting class. And then from that point on, as they were describing, you can change class on the fly. So and it's all based on what weapon you're wielding. So if you're in the warrior class and you're being they call it a gladiator, you'll have your sword and shield. You'll run around, and out of nowhere, you'd be like, I'm going to be an archer now. You pull out your bow and arrow, put your sword and shield away. Now all of your archer stats come up, and you're starting to gain XP for your archer, as long as you have your bow out.
Huh.
And you can swap them anywhere at any time. So I think when we were talking about it before, you could sit there as an archer, fire a few shots off to weaken an enemy while they're running at you, swap over to gladiator, and just rip them to shreds from there. But only your gladiator will get the XP. So it's definitely a new, interesting way to take it. I think it's probably a good way to do it, so you don't have a bunch of, you're not confined to one class per character. You can level every class and everything all at once. And one of the other features is when you do swap between classes, I think he was saying you get like 3 or 4 slots in your action bar that can be from any class. So you can have a warrior running around with Cure. Or you can have an archer running around with Summon Destroyer God. Which is how I set mine up, but... and then after that, they took us through a walkthrough of the actual PvE section, just to kind of get a feel for the combat, which it was fun, but I didn't like the fact that they only had like level 30 characters running around, so it was kind of an easy walkthrough. You didn't have much to worry about. But if you're looking for the same game Final Fantasy XI was, or if you're not looking for that, you'll either be impressed or let down. Let down if you're looking for the same game, because they changed the combat system completely. No longer do you have to spend 80 hours with a team of 20 people on one boss.
Yeah.
He was saying that you could pretty much solo the entire game. There's just there's a few missions where it's easy if you have a team, but if you're really up to the challenge, you can go through with your solo it. So they kind of scaled back the huge battle aspects, and now you can lock on, and you have a TP system now to where you can queue up actions, multiple actions, and they'll just go off as soon as your little ATM, active bar or whatever fills up.
ATB.
Yeah, your ATB fills up. They'll just go off. So you could sit there and queue. I think it was like 4 or 5 actions, and then just move around a character and have them all go off without you having to sit there spamming, 1 for attack and 2 for, a bigger attack, stuff like that. Another kind of cool feature they added in is preemptive attack on creatures. If you can get the drop on them, the first attack you do on them will always be a critical strike.
Wow.
Or straight out kill a character, kill a creature, depending on level and all that stuff. Which is kind of a cool little feature. I don't believe that was in 11 at all.
No.
So, but I mean, looking at it and getting to play it, not a big MMO fan, and I definitely did not like 11. This actually was an MMO I could see myself getting into. It's pretty much what every Final Fantasy fan is waiting for in an MMO.
Yep.
You have anything to add? You're the one who broke it.
So they had 2 setups. They had the standard area with the 2D and whatnot, and then which was like I think 4 stations, and then they had another 2 stations where it was 3Ds with 3 monitors to look at it. And I'm like, me and David was pretty much standing in front of the line, and to my left was the 3D, to our right, me and David's right, was the standard 2D. So as soon as he goes, oh yeah, you go ahead and sit down and try to enjoy the demo. So I sat down in the 3D area, and I had to put on the active 3D glasses and all that. And the guy was adjusting it, making sure that it was all to point and whatnot. And he goes, you can go ahead and pick up the controller now. I'm like, can I use the keyboard and mouse? He goes, well, it's a little messed up right now, so we prefer to use the controller. I'm like, okay, mind you, they were using, custom Logitech controllers that look like 360 controllers.
Oh, the irony.
Even though the game comes out for the PC and PS3. So I'm like, okay, so I picked up the controller and started moving around, and he was telling me, he's like, wow, at first glance, I'm like, wow, 3D and 3 different monitors, alright. And I was like, just telling the guy, oh yeah, this looks cool, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, the 3D, what I was looking at was pretty much a bigger version of what the 3DS was giving us already, just with glasses. And so I'm like walking around and he's telling me where to go and how to get out. So I get to this one point and he tells me, oh, go down these stairs. So I stopped, turn around and start to go down the stairs and then it just froze up. And then it went kicked right back to the Windows mode and it goes, an error has occurred.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Well, it is the beta.
Well, it is the beta, but they also explained to us how they may or may not put into 3D. I think they were really seeing if they're going to go that route or not.
Well, I think the way he described it was they have the 3D in for these shows to gauge fan reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, yeah, you're not going to get most of your hardcore fans at E3 because I mean it's industry and press only.
Yeah.
But when they show, I think that this was their starting grounds, and they're going to try to work it into like doing these other shows, because they said that they may or may not do 3D, and they want to see if fans actually want it or are going to be able to run it at home in 3D before they go through the manpower to put it in, because that might push back their hopeful 2010 release date.
Yeah, and push it back even longer to what expected. So. I mean, overall, from what I played, you know, is it going to be a WoW killer? No. Is it going to be something to play in between WoW and the Old Republic when it comes out? Possibly.
I honestly think it's going to be that next step. All of the Final Fantasy XI fans or people who aren't big fans of MMOs but love Final Fantasy, I think it's going to be a big step for them to hop into an MMO.
Yeah.
Or to transition from an old one into the new one. Because like I said, I'm not a big fan of MMOs, love Final Fantasy. I enjoyed the hell out of Final Fantasy XIV. I just wish I'd have been able to play it actually on the PS3 to kind of gauge how well that's going to be on that system.
Mm-hmm.
But they're only showing the PC, and you know we won't even get a chance to see a beta for at least another 2 months.
Yeah. Which we're hoping to get into. Hoping, crossing our fingers, but we'll see though. So I think after Square-Enix we pretty much split up for a little while.
I wandered around and did the chief editor thing, making contacts, all that stuff, shaking babies, spitting on hands, kicking shit, you know, all that fun stuff.
It's so funny. I'm not really sure. Now I can't even think about what else I played after that. We sort of did some walking around, Ben. Tried to see Portal 2. Failed at that. Didn't feel like standing in line trying to see the Old Republic. Wish I'd have known that was there earlier and we could have gone.
Yeah, I did too. I wish we could have done that on Wednesday.
Yeah.
It was hidden.
It was extremely hidden.
So yeah, I wish we could have seen that because they also had the Force Unleashed 2 as well, and I probably would have been like, yeah, in our podcast we have a bargain bin and the majority of them is all Star Wars stuff.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say the last thing I saw before we left basically was, and I wish I had the entire title, but I went to the Indiecade and saw this game called like Hazard: The Path of Life or something like that, and it was something else. And I don't know if anyone else really has been talking about it because I haven't really listened to too many other podcasts, but just the level design is unbelievable. Like you're going through these different paths, trying to get through the end, and as you're doing it, you're thinking that you're, learning about the game, and what the game is actually doing is teaching you how to play the game. For instance, like you walking and you come up to a fork in the road, and there's a sign on the wall that says like, the path is not always the way you're trying to go, or something like, it's some, Confucius say kind of thing. So the guy travels down the right path, and they're colored, so goes down the red path on the right, and then he comes back and he's back to the exact same spot. So he's like, okay, so he goes down the left path because it's the blue path, and then he comes back to the same spot. So you're like, sometimes it's not the way you know. So he turns around and goes back, and that was the way out of the room. So
Nice.
yeah, so it sort of teaches you how to like play the game itself, and then there's a lot of really neat like mechanics about with like using color to like get through parts or dissolve pieces, and just using the physics of the room, and the puzzles were fantastic. So I can't wait to download the demo and really go and try to play it. It looks so fun. And he said that after you actually beat the entire game, and that's like 5 or 6 hours, then you can continue playing, and there are different rules. So, like hitting escape and being able to go back to the beginning and start the path over again, with your newfound knowledge, like doing that is a failure, makes it a failure for you. So, just very interesting. Really looking forward to seeing what it is, seeing how that's going to turn out. He's the only guy working on it, so he's like, so if I get sick for a week, that's a week lost. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, well that's how indie games go, But I'm really looking forward to seeing more from this, and I'll try to get the thing in the show notes. I'll have to go and find it so I can write it down and put it in the show notes. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, that's pretty much what we all saw,
Thursday.
day 3.
So final thoughts, David?
Honestly, what it comes down to is I enjoyed the hell out of the E3 again, but they need to add another day. There's just, not much there's not much time to see everything. I mean, you could kind of hear how rushed we were, especially, on Thursday where we had back-to-back things, and it was just because that was all the time we had. So, I mean, I enjoyed the show. I found a lot of really cool things, that new things were announced, all that stuff. I, in my opinion, think Sony took the show again, at least as far as the big 3 go. But honestly, I think a few things need to change with the show in general.
Yeah, I think so too, because it's especially for a small team, for a like a site like ours, where we have a small group of team, or even like Gaming Angel only had a group of the team of 3,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a difficulty to try to cover everything. It was impossible. They need to add another day. Don't know what they need to do, but they need to add another day so that we can try to cover as much as we can.
Well, either that or move it to a bigger area to show off, so that they can make bigger booths or something like that, so they can cater to more people per showing. Because when I went into like the Mortal Kombat or the Dead Space 2, they were only allowing 20 people at a time to sit through a 15 to 20 minute demo. So I mean, they weren't able to cycle through all that fast, but if they could bump that number up, just by sheer size.
And they have like 2-3 rooms where they can do showing and go through it much faster. Yeah, I can definitely see that. You can say that with like the big 3, have a bigger booth with those, so that no one's waiting an hour, 2 hours just to be in an area for about 20, 30 minutes. Try to rush to see how much they can see and whatnot in a short period of time. So
either that or stop letting people, like there's this douche in front of me while I was waiting on Thursday morning, and his title was Guest of Capcom.
Well, I think that was one of the people that won a contest.
Oh.
I think there was like 15 people there total that won a contest, because there was 3 people from Sony that were Guest of Sony.
Oh, okay.
Because they were giving away prizes.
I see.
But I will agree that they need to limit the number of people at the exhibit specifically that aren't actually working. Because that seemed like it was the bigger thing. It was more industry and exhibitors running around.
Yeah, I mean there was just a lot of red badges running around.
Yeah.
It's almost like they purposely brought like double the amount of people that they needed so that those people could run around and have fun.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes things like even some of the major media sites makes it difficult for them to actually get in and take a look at what they want to do or want to, or trying to do their job and cover it. And it seems like E3 is supposed to be a big fun thing for all the gaming people, but I think it's getting a little out of hand with exhibitors mainly, and I honestly think it just needs to be cut back that way. Or at least for like media, add some time in there where it's media only.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, like if they opened up in the morning at like 8:00 and then stayed open till 8:00, and the only people allowed in there were media and people working the booth, like actually working the booths, I honestly think that could save them from having to add an extra day. It'd be about an extra day's worth of time when you look at it. If you put 2 hours on each end,
right,
you'd be sitting an extra 6 hours for it. But that's 6 hours where you have the people actually talking to people en masse about their games and all that stuff, and getting the news out there for them. Because I can guarantee these exhibitors, they'll go home and they'll tell their friends, but most people they'll get out to, unless they're Cliffy B, are going to be like 20 people.
Yeah. Right.
Where we can actually hit, hundreds and thousands of people in, one tweet. So.
Yeah. So.
Anyways, that's my feelings on how it all went. I mean, other than that, there were some great announcements, some great looking games I can't wait for. Some games I wish were out now, but got pushed back. God of War, I'm talking to you. And Mortal Kombat.
No Dead Space?
Oh, and Dead Space 2.
That's what I say.
But I have to wait at least until September to hope for Dead Space 2 to be out, because the PS3 version comes with extraction with Move capability. And even though I've beaten it on the Wii, I'd love to give it a try with the motion or with the Move. So.
Move.
Move to connect.
Yes.
Cool. Ben?
Overall, after thinking about it, the past couple of days and whatnot, it was a good E3. It wasn't, spectacular or anything like that. There was no major, one solid WoW IP out there or sequel or anything like that. It was pretty much just like WoW me or anything like that. But, it was a good solid E3 overall. My complaint is they need lunch tickets in the media room.
Oh yeah, no, what was up with that? With people walking out with 5 or 6 lunches?
That is insane. Okay, first off, I'm not a veggie person. All right, I know I need to get there early so that I can fight through the vultures and everything. But they need to work with CES or something and have some sort of lunch ticket area, because it was ridiculous. Me and David were walking to the media room. We saw this one girl carrying 5 trays out. And
not even to a table or anything where her group was at, just out of the media room.
Yeah, it was out of the media room. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So by the time we got there, we pretty much, tried to scramble what was left.
Oh, vegetarians. I'm sorry, California, not everybody's a vegan.
Sorry, Andy and Jamie. But,
they don't listen to this.
What's that?
They don't listen to this.
I know.
Yeah.
But that was ridiculous. I mean, I wish they need to put something on there. But other than that, they need to, some of these booths, they need to have someone monitor the lines, or where they need to, if they're watching something, they need to either make the area bigger, or just find or remodel their area so that more people can look in the area without having, once you walk in, you're instantly bumping to someone. Capcom.
EA usually does a really good thing where they have a few booths set up, they have a few separate rooms, but it's every hour on the hour, in their huge open area they have a show which is based around one title.
Yeah.
and they show the new trailer, they show a little bit of game footage, and that's where they hand out their swag as well, where they throw the shirts out.
Well, that's perfect because if you look in the area, it's just one big gigantic area where people can stand and whatnot, and there's still plenty of room where people can move in and out.
Yeah.
Which I think is a great idea. I just wish more companies would do that.
Activision did it. They had an entire stadium of people.
Yeah, they had an entire stadium. We were standing right next to the stage. Thanks to Activision for the free booze and food. That
$6 million worth of booze.
Yeah. Did you hear about the number?
No.
Activision dropped $6 million on their thing.
Just on the concessions and renting the space.
Yeah.
That's not including all the people they had for the show or all the equipment.
So, just imagine that number probably was a lot higher than that.
I can imagine. So, anything else?
Other than that, meeting, all the great people again, meeting some new people, meeting some old ones. So, like Bo Ryan, Bob Buckner, Haley Bright. I saw the team from iContact.com. Saw some familiar faces, saw some new faces. Some people that I wanted to see meet up, didn't get the opportunity to do so, but hopefully next year we'll be able to do that. But other than that, yeah, good E3. Wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. Out of the big three, after thinking about it, I'm gonna have to agree with you. I think Sony stole the show. Nintendo came in a close second for me, as opposed to with all the announcements and, the 3DS and all that. And then, Microsoft. Fuck you.
Hey, if I'd have been bribed, my vote would have been swayed the other way. Just so you know, if any Microsoft employees are listening.
Yeah, no, fuck that. Hey, Microsoft, fuck you.
His opinions are not ours. How about yourself, Brian? What do you think?
I think we came with a lot of really good things that we learned from last year, and I think we learned a lot more new lessons for this year. So I'm really looking forward to seeing next year and really getting ourselves out there some more. But overall, I think Sony had more interesting announcements, but Nintendo really went after the fans. And I really feel like the 3DS was a big show stealer for them because it really is pretty slick tech. I mean, they really outdid themselves on this one. It's definitely going to it's going to help keep the DS going on for many more years to come. But I mean, of course, we're supposed to pretend that we say the gamers are really the ones that won E3. Yeah. Anyway,
Kevin Butler.
Yeah. Kevin Butler is actually the winner of E3, by far.
It's true.
Yeah.
He stole the show and all the shows.
After that speech, I wanted to stand up and do a standing ovation. You kidding me?
Yeah.
That epic speech, yeah. It was, yeah.
So.
Pew, pew!
Pew, pew! But otherwise, I mean, I thought it was a really good show. I think a lot of companies made a lot of great showings, and I think they really brought a lot of quality products to the stage. Again, we're back to kind of a little nervous that we're still kind of riding the cash cow thing. A lot of, not many new IPs, a lot of sequels and remakes and hashes and what have you. So hopefully next year we'll actually see a few things here and there that are at least new as far as IPs are concerned. Because they're really, if you really think about it, the big exciting ones were all sequels or remakes of some kinds. I mean, the real big ones were Marvel vs. Capcom 3, another Legend of Zelda,
the Metroid, the Kid Icarus,
Gears of War.
Crisis 2, Medal of Honor,
SOCOM 4, Twisted Metal.
Hey, that's been out of circulation for so long. It's a new IP again.
Well, I put that under the rehash and remake and
revitalization.
Yeah, Killzone. Yeah, so I'm not saying that there weren't, I'm not
Yeah.
saying that there weren't, some good new things out there. I mean, Bulletstorm made a big splash, so.
Yeah.
Well, of course they did. Free hamburgers. You kidding me?
Good point. That's a good point. T-shirts and hamburgers. You give guys T-shirts and hamburgers, and ladies. I mean, really anybody. You give people who are hungry and tired. You give them T-shirts and hamburgers, and they're gonna love you.
And have hot chicks serve it. Yeah, that you'll get a good review around all the way around.
Pretty much. So yeah. I mean, I think it shows that, the video games industry is big time, and so they demonstrated it this past week, and looking forward to Holiday 2010.
Holiday. Yeah, I saw a lot more celebrities at this year's E3 than I did last year. I recently found out like George Lopez was there, Ice Cube was there.
Still doing the jerk off.
Yeah. Let's see, Rasheed Wallace was there. Method Man and Redman was performing at Konami. I feel like for some odd reason next year's E3 is going to be like one huge concert. I don't know, but that's just me. But
if they have Gwar and Rammstein there, I'm sold.
Yeah. But anyways, you guys have a best of E3?
Best of E3? Oh, well, I mean, I'd have to give my nod back to Final Fantasy, really. That one's, I mean, even though it didn't overly wow me, it's been something I've been looking forward to and actually getting the hands on. And Mortal Kombat was cool. Yes, God of War was awesome, but, it's just another chapter in the story. So, I really can't, Splatterhouse, if you want something not on my normal plate, even though it kind of is. That was definitely one of my favorite things to go over and see and play.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Rock Band 3. I went back there 3 times to play at Naughty Bear. You were trying to set me up for that, weren't you? You were trying to set me up.
I was.
Brought to you by Naughty Bear.
I was sitting there going, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm sitting here, I'm literally lobbing the ball at you, and
I was trying to get hit by pitch. Come on.
I guess my best of E3 would have to be. I'm gonna have to go with what Harmonix showed us with Rock Band 3 and Dance Central. Dance Central, it was not just a gimmick game. It's an action. They took the full technology of the Kinect and shut up. But it made it work. It wasn't like a gimmick game or anything like that. I guess another nominee that I went and played a little bit was Castlevania, Lords of Shadows. I really want to play that game. I mean, I only played like 5 minutes of it before I had to go move to the next line, back to the line. But I was like, yeah, screw that. Final Fantasy XIV was great to see. Other than that, as much as I am a fighter gamer, for the genre and whatnot, after watching the people play Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I just wasn't that impressed. I think just maybe graphically, I just couldn't get into it, but just the way that the style of play is still there and everything. I guess it was just maybe the people playing the game. I just couldn't get into it.
You can send your hate mail to bwin@aggrogamer.com.
Nice.
I don't care as long as I'm getting mail. Doesn't bother me.
How about you, Brian?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with GoldenEye no, I'm just kidding.
Vitality Sensor.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the big winners.
The iTor to tell the Kinect to rage quit.
Right. Actually, I'm gonna kind of lean with Ben on this. Dance Central was kind of very, very skeptical about the Kinect and how it would work, but damn, I mean that game just puts it all together for you, and while all the other games kind of look like crap, that one really shone like a bright diamond in the rough. So, I'm gonna have to go with that one since I will only choose one. I loved Zelda, but I mean it was a lot more of Zelda. So, Dance Central, it's new, it's brand new, it's fun to play, it's gorgeous. It uses the tech properly. What can I say? That was to me the winner.
Yeah, I mean there was very few new IPs out there this year, and Dance Central, I think you would. Once you got, I mean, I was really like Brian, really skeptical, and the way they had the dance floor and they had professional dancers, like, oh great, we're all gonna look like fools.
Oh, we did.
We still did, but it's just how well it worked with the Kinect.
And we didn't have to catch a red ball at all.
No, we didn't. No, the one thing I liked about Dance Central is it's a single player game, but you can have multiple.
Not single player.
No, well, hear me out. I mean, it's single player when the camera's focusing on one person, but you can have backup dancing where the camera does recognize you, but it reds you out, so it only focuses on the one person. So
okay, I could see where you're going.
Where I'm going with it. So I like how multiple people can play. It's almost like I said, it's a single player game, but multiple people can play at the same time to dance along with whatever dance song that you're dancing to. So, anyways, yeah. Anything else you guys want to add before we wrap this up?
No.
No. That pretty much covered at least most of what it was. If anything else, we're gonna have all of the rest of our impressions and all that stuff on the site sometime soon.
Yeah, within the next few days.
Yeah.
Or at least try.
But yeah, at least try. There was a lot, and there's just the three of us.
So, anyways, that is all with this episode of the AggroCast.
Yep. Rate and review us on iTunes and the Zune Marketplace. Send all comments, suggestions, and other topics to AggroCast@AggroGamer.com. I'm thinking Mike will be back with our next episode since E3 is in the books. And that's it. For Ben and David, this is Brian. We're out. Peace.
Later.
Win-win.